Today on Student Island, we are going to go back in time to the 4 geologic eras.
Yo, 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 it's Dino Rapper Quarter, N to the E to the I to the C to the K, Spec Man. Now today we're going to talk about the Precambrian era. It was a crazy place. More single-celled organisms, multi-celled organisms, of course, like trilobites. Everything was underwater, except for some plants. Of course, there were some plants that were just leaves sitting on the ground, but also there's some non-spindly plants underwater, just being like a leaf, you know? Yeah, now we're going to talk about their climate. It was super hot due to the Earth being created not very long ago and life just barely being created. Now let's talk about them animals. Now, the thing that ended this. It was at that moment Nick realized he was wrong. It only happened until the Paleozoic. It didn't end the Precambrian era. Therefore becoming welcome back trilobites and small multicelled organisms. Now, some geological changes was, of course, all the continents going apart from Pangea. See you next time on Dino Rapper Nick's N to the I to the C to the K Spec Man. Welcome back to Dino Rapper. We're now going to be introducing the Paleozoic era.
The Paleozoic time era was split into 3 categories. Not 1, not 2, but 3. The early, middle, and late Paleozoic. In the early Paleozoic, invertebrates and vertebrates both lived. The first plants started growing in the ocean. The climate was warm and the seas flooded onto the land to create shallow inland seas. That part of the era ended in a mass extinction. In the Middle Paleozoic, the fish were created. During the Middle Paleozoic, the Appalachian Mountains were created. Finally, in the Late Paleozoic era, the reptiles, amphibians, and insects were created. The climate became cooler and drier. The continents are currently in Pangea. Tropical forests grew in inland seas. The era ended with no sunlight, freezing temperatures, and the food chains were collapsing. 95% of marine life and 70% of land life were extinct after that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Over to Jessica.
Welcome back to Dino Rapper. Next up, we're gonna have the Mesozoic era. See you again.
Hello, I'm Jessica Caraway from the Mesozoic era. Today's weather is tropically sunny with a high of 96 and a low of 88. At this very moment, our supercontinent known as Pangea is starting to split into 2 different territories, Gondwanaland and Laurasia. The ocean levels are quickly rising. Now for a quick history lesson. There are 3 different periods: the Cretaceous, the Jurassic, and Triassic. In the beginning, the Triassic era, the first mammals and dinosaurs evolved. Next, in the Jurassic period, the first appearance of birds were spotted. That takes us to where we are today, in the Cretaceous era. We now see flowering plants and the Rocky Mountains. The inhabitants of this land are few because of the previous extinctions. We have dinosaurs and small mammals. We also have many flowers and cone-bearing trees. Now, we must get prepared for the Cretaceous extinction.
Welcome back to Dino Rapper. This time, we're gonna be the final era, Cenozoic. See you again.
I'm Riley DeJohn, reporting from the Cenozoic era. The Cenozoic era was split into 2 epochs. The first one being the Territory period, which was from 65.5 million to 2.6 million years ago. Then there's the Quaternary period, which is from 2.6 million years ago from today. Well, there's been a lot happening in the geology. It's very similar to what happened today, and one of the biggest things that happened is the mountain building. Both the Rockies and the Alps were formed during this time. multiple animals lived during this era. A few of them being mega mammals, which were just really large animals compared to something that would look like a mammoth or a elephant. Sadly, most of them were wiped out in the Paleocene extinctions, which wiped out a lot, which was around during the time of the Ice Age, which was when the world froze over with ice. The plant life that they had was very similar to the kinds we have today, with trees and mostly anything you'd see, but except some variety of plants were wiped out during the Paleocene extinctions. And how my era ended was it hasn't ended yet because we're still in it right now.
Don't die,
Sorry
everyone.
to say this, but the show's over. Why are you still here? But while we're here, we're gonna go over the eras. We started out with the Precambrian, the multi-cell things, and then, or mostly single cell, but it was also the dawn of multi-cell. And now we're going to go on to the Paleozoic, where everything was like the paleo diet. Then we'll go on to the Mesozoic, where dinos and crap, stuff like that. And finally, we go over to the Cenozoic, which is where we are. But just as a warning, the final era on Earth will be the dawn of the Planet of the Apes. See you again on Dino Era.